Welcome to International Conservation Service's second lab tour. My name is Adam Godden, Head of Conservation. Due to the COVID situation, we've been unable to hold our usual tours of our labs, so I've been working on a virtual tour to show some of the amazing work that our conservators are doing. This week I've taken some lovely footage of a painting being conserved by Matteo Volonte. He's working under the microscope, carefully removing varnish and overpaint from a 17th century painting attributed to Jacob Jordan's. In the paper lab, Wendi Powell has been carefully putting together tiny fragments of the pages of books like a jigsaw puzzle. And in the furniture lab, Oliver Hull and Shane Wichnick are doing some lovely detailed work on some Regency furniture. I'm very proud of the skills of our conservators, and I hope you enjoy this week's work as much as I have. Let's start the tour in the furniture lab. Oliver Hull, furniture conservator, is removing a synthetic varnish from this lovely Regency sofa table with brass inlay on Coromandel timber. The varnish is failing and needs to be removed. The original French polish needs to be revived. Oliver, can you describe some of the process for us?
So the blotting paper is essentially holding the solvent that breaks down the plastic coating that's on here. So when we move this back, you should be able to see the difference between there and there. And that is the solvent having reacted with the finish. And that should just come off. It leaves some residue that gets cleaned off later. But ultimately is a very clean way of removing the finish.
Oliver is making this look simple, but it takes a lot of skill and experience to remove a varnish like this. If the chisel angle is off for a millisecond, you can dig into the timber, causing irreparable damage. We're trying to save the original timber and the original polish.
And we leave the blotting paper on, obviously says that whilst we're removing those sections are still being worked by the solvent that's on the blotting paper. If we use anything else, like normal commercial grade strippers, they have a tendency to stain the timber. They darken the timber. They chemically darken the timber.
Synthetic varnishes like this are often sprayed onto furniture as quick and easy fixes. They are more robust than the shellac finish, the French polish finish. However, once damaged, are more difficult to repair and remove.
And what we can do is we can just tidy up these areas. There we go.
It's mesmerising to watch the plastic varnish being peeled away from the surface. But let's skip to a time lapse of the detailing around some of the brass inlay. The varnish here can be removed from the timber again with chisel and scalpel, but to avoid the metal surface being scratched, this has to be done with just solvent. We'll be back next time once the table's complete. Shane is also removing a synthetic coating from this brass inlay table. He has to remove the varnish in order to treat the corrosion of the brass. On the left is almost finished, clean side. As you can see, there's an amazing difference. Shane, can you tell us a little bit about how the cleaning is coming along and what you're doing?
You can see some of the areas
areas are definitely, they still have a coating over them. So they're slightly different color of brassy color. Whereas the areas here, because something has been scratched, across here someone previously has rubbed it down. There's some tarnish deep into those scratches, which is tarnished differently than the rest of it.
Clean evenly.
Yeah. So I have to get rid of all of the remaining coating as best as possible, and then move on to trying to pull off the tarnish. But this way, hopefully I'm just pulling off the tarnish and not removing any of the surface unnecessary, because all of these etching and lines and everything inside of there is only so shallow, so a certain amount of abrasion, and you start to lose detail on these pieces. So you absolutely don't want to try and abrade it in any way.
So those details are the first thing to go, aren't they?
Yeah, as it starts to come out, you lose all those beautiful lines, which are very difficult to make. So that I can still try and remove any that might be underneath something. I can still kind of work at removing any remaining coating, and I can start to get that chelating agent on there to grab onto all of those tarnished particles.
Thank you for sharing with us, Shane. I'll look forward to seeing the final result. In the paper lab, Wendi Powell is carefully piecing back book pages together from fragments so the text can once again be read.
Probably do a big repair for these guys. This one, we don't know where that goes. This one goes here.
It's like a jigsaw puzzle.
It is. That goes.
That's why you're so good at jigsaw puzzles.
You found my secret. Oops. Except for the reme is a bit like, almost like it's got a static charge. That's because it's got that texturalness to it. It bounces around like a static charge. Now I'm going to do a big repair on that one. Because it is in such a bad shape. I'll take that corner bit off. Do. It's a really large repair, but there it is. Come on. Make sure you don't touch the wet bit. Get it to stay down.
Once the pages are all stabilised, Wendi will put the book back together. She's got a fair bit of work to do, so we'll leave her to it. In the paintings lab, painting conservator Matteo Volonte is working carefully under the microscope on a Jacob Jordan's painting. Matteo is applying a solvent gel to the surface. He's trying to soften all the overpaint and leftover varnish that's on the surface so it can be removed carefully from all the pores, the nooks and crannies, the brush strokes. Under high magnification, Matteo can easily pick out all the overpaint and the varnish, removing it from the surface to reveal the original paint. How quick does the gel work?
Well, it's pretty quick on softening it. Did probably 5-6 minutes. And then you can see it actually acts mostly on the varnish trapped underneath the overpaint. Softening it, and then with a scalpel you just peel it off skin it off. It's a horrible yellow discolored varnish to start with. And obviously a lot of tears, damages, as relined.
Thanks, Matteo. We're looking forward to seeing how this turns out. Matteo's got a long way to go, so we might come back and visit him another day. Thank you all for joining us on this lab tour. Please hit the subscribe button below and join us next time.